How we doing, boys?
Chilling. Thank you for coming to Chicago.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. This office is beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah, this is one of the coolest offices I've ever seen, and also, I mean, got to be the coolest place to now ever recorded a podcast. Like I'm used to our setup, but like this is sick. This is sick.
No, I appreciate it. And you guys are having a good weather. It's starting to be almost a summer in Chicago.
Oh, we consider this good weather?
I mean, the sun
Blue
is
sky.
out, shining. The views look nice.
Oh,
we got
man.
these beautiful bikes in the background. Like,
LA's made me soft. You know,
Looking
we were
nice.
walking over here today. I was like, man, I am cold right now. So LA's made me soft.
Think about this. In Chicago, you can always wear this jacket.
That's true. That's true. Yep,
Fair.
year round. That's facts.
that's
So,
utility right there.
exactly. Yeah. So
I think before we get this fully started off, though, I think we need to take a shot of this beautiful
I
bottle.
thought we
right
forgot
here.
about that. We're
Yeah.
gonna.
Why don't you go ahead and reach for it, Mark, and get us right? You know? Don't worry. You can pour us more and yourself less. That's all right.
When? That's you, Sonny. Okay. Okay.
All right. When? Yeah.
Okay. All right, you tell me when.
I mean, I don't know. Don't put me on the spot like that. Oh, I can already smell it. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not doing nearly.
No. You like at minimum you need to do the same size. Like,
Yeah, Mark. You better pour up a little bit more.
all right.
Hold on. Oh my God, that scent. That scent is.
I love it, honestly. At this point. Cheers to
But
having us in Chicago.
Are we drinking this entire thing in one gulp?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
This is how we're.
Sipping drink.
Yeah, we don't sip Malta. This is the initiation shot. We just took a red-eye flight to get here. We got here this morning.
We're running on
in this
2.5 hours of
beautiful-
sleep.
Yeah, we're in this beautiful office.
Okay.
Like, we're with Cube.exchange. We gotta make it happen.
Okay. All right. Cheers.
So cheers to Cube.exchange. Cheers to thank you for having us.
Cheers, boys.
More blessings.
Okay.
And shout out to one of our favorite meme coins, Maltai. Mark, you okay over there?
Oh, that's. Oh, good God.
I told you.
Oh man, it makes my eyes water. It's good, but it's just.
You're already sweating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh.
I told you. What did I say? One more of those and his head is going to be tilted back.
Yeah. You know. Wow. That just wakes you up. It wakes you up. You know.
Bro, I think your forehead just got glossy
I
and
think
everything.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm good. I carry I carry
some-
wipes for my forehead because I start glistening when we do these episodes. But that Mao tile, that'll do it real quick. So,
We have some Pepto in the kitchen.
no, no, I'm good. But boy, that is something. So
That is funny.
all right. So before we get too into this, before this Mao Tai actually hits my system, Bartosz, can you give everybody like a 30-second elevator pitch? Who is Bartosz? Give us a little bit of your background, and then we'll go into everything from there.
Yeah, sure. So just a dev at Cube right now, trying to change how the crypto exchanges are built.
That was a beautiful elevator pitch. There we go. So
Quick.
what were you doing before Cube.exchange? Kind of run through a little bit of your background in the crypto and NFT space and all
Yeah.
that.
So I ended in crypto totally by accident. It was a mix of non-compete and COVID, and my wife telling me that I need to stop baking bread in the kitchen.
You're
What kind of
you're a
bread?
big bread guy, yeah.
Like everyone in COVID, or most of the lame guys in COVID, I was breaking sourdough and making kombucha.
Wow.
Love it.
It lasted about like a month,
There you go.
and then she was like, "That's it. Like, you need to get out of the house." And I'm like, "It's COVID."
We all had some random hobbies during COVID, I feel like.
Oh yeah. I was betting on NFL Madden simulations.
I was like cooking Wagyu on a stone at my house.
Well, that sounds way better than what we were doing. I mean, still sourdough bread sounds incredible.
Sourdough
but,
bread and
yeah.
kombucha. What were you doing again?
I was betting on NFL Madden simulations. So not even two people playing each other?
Mark, I really do think you have a problem. Like, I really do feel like you have a
I
problem.
remember being so bored that I was like, yo, the Rams and the Seahawks are playing today. And my buddy was like, what? And I was like, NFL Madden simulation.
Nah,
and,
you're
And I was
crazy.
watching it, and it was enjoyable.
You're crazy.
True degen. But yeah, so walk us through, how did we go from sourdough to Cube Exchange?
Yeah, so I basically went on Twitter, started getting deeper into crypto, and then reached out to Anatoly and started working at Solana in like 2020. So like before most people even heard about it. And when I started, there was like, I was the guy that was responsible for building stuff on top of the blockchain, like in terms of like smart contracts, apps, and like then hiring engineers. And there was nothing. Like
Yeah.
there was this app called one of the guys at Solana built this app called like Break Solana, I think, or something like that. And it was like a clicker on the website, and that was the only thing. So we started building like AMMs, NFT standards, Candy Machine, bunch of other things with people that I brought in Chicago. Yeah, and Solana happened, I guess, after that.
I mean, not to sell yourself short at all by what you're saying, but you guys essentially brought NFT minting to Solana, right?
Yeah, we did it in. I had main thing that like I didn't like about Ethereum, which was it's hard to do NFTs on Ethereum. You need to be an engineer. You actually need to like build some smart contract, and I think there was a lot of extracting value happening, where engineers would often like take advantage of the artists, because they were like, oh, building this smart contract is really hard. You need to deploy it. You need to do this. In reality, they would go to the open source code and just like copy it, deploy it, and then they would say, I'm going to have your 10% of your mint. Like disgusting thing. So as you can see from the office, like I really like art and like just working with the artists. So wanted to make sure that that's not happening on Solana. And that's how with Jordan we built the Candy Machine, because it was basically the idea, how do we make it more accessible for people to deploy NFTs? And you could see it with like growth of NFTs on Solana. It was like parabolic. And I think like the chain that has most NFTs right now is Solana, especially after the compressed NFTs happened. Like Drip just like gives it to everyone.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want it.
What were some of the like biggest, I guess, challenges when you were like operating back then? Obviously, the Solana ecosystem and everything like that has grown so much since then. So what were some of the biggest challenges that you guys were dealing with back then? And like, how did you even figure out how to overcome them when we didn't have nearly the amount of devs that we have now back then?
I think at the beginning, it wasn't really about the devs. Like some people thought it was about the devs, but it was really about the demand side. So like devs bring supply, like when you create more contracts, create protocols and all of that, that wasn't the problem. We would go to like different companies and say, hey, you should do NFTs on Solana. And they would say, we don't want to because we will make money on ETH, like that's like guaranteed, like they just give us money. On Solana, we'll need to work for it.
What a concept. Working for money. What a crazy concept.
It's like,
So you actually have to prove yourself a little bit? Tiny bit.
Yeah.
yeah, and even like in the bull market, like a lot of those NFT projects, they just want to make money and kind of like, hey, like it's art, we are gone. And like building community is hard. I'm sure Sunny knows this. Like communities can be demanding. And we wanted to make sure that the community on Solana is very authentic. And I think that happened with bringing like net new people that, you know, often would call themselves, hey, like Solana is for the poor, all of that. Like the initial projects didn't make as much money as they could on ETH, but what they had is this blank canvas.
Yeah.
Where you could create community from scratch rather than have this speculators that would, like on ETH, I think at that point you had a lot of speculators that would try to buy and dump the project very quickly, where the people that came on Solana actually wanted to hold the projects. And that made a lot of difference for the early projects because people that minted like Solana Monkey Business or DeGods, they still hold them.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it always felt that it always felt that Solana, even in those early phases, it always had this kind of sense of culture to it that was building, and this sense of like overarching community, like Solana community, that was just kind of rallying around the blockchain itself. And then that lended itself to obviously either you're minting various projects, you're supporting different protocols. And during that time, it was kind of rallying around all of these projects. Like people were, I mean, I remember during those times, I was like trying to get a mint for everything. And I was like, I'm minting this project, I'm minting this project, I'm minting this project. Like, you know, you're just throwing darts at the wall at that point. But it's like there was a genuine, there was just a genuine like bond and just a tension being formed. Like even on crypto Twitter, it felt like Solana was always so just like loud and out there, even compared to ETH. And even though ETH NFTs had always been around, there was just an actual like Solana culture being formed versus it just coming from the NFT projects.
And then the other thing that ended up happening is like, because it's cheaper, it allowed people to experiment. Like, hey, if I drop this project and it doesn't work, I'm not losing like $100,000.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of projects is like, I actually don't have that much, like to build the contract and everything. So you could experiment. And I think like DeGods brought a lot of this experimentation to Solana. Like you had the paper and bitch tax, right? Yeah. That was great. Like the initial white paper, I think people would not be as creative with it. Like Frank would not try that on ETH to start with. I loved what the original like social game that he did before the drop, where he would pick different influencers on Solana and you needed to tweet at them, get the whitelist. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was pretty annoyed with it.
With their honorary, when he was like go tweet like for like function to go claim his honorary DeGod, and it's just like you had a bunch of people tweeting that out.
Yeah. So I had one spot for myself, and it was extremely annoying. Like this round is like, oh, like you need to claim this NFT on this will not stop, and I'm like, what kind of terrorist is that?
That was a wild time of like NFTs in general. But yeah, I mean, I think when I think about it, it's like Solana was just the easiest to jump in. You could onboard somebody very quickly. It was much easier to understand. You didn't, if you hadn't been in crypto forever, it was easy to explain. Like the transaction fees were so minimal that it was like it didn't even matter to the average person. They didn't even realize what they were doing. Then when you would go over to ETH, especially at that time when ETH was pumping, it was like you were paying at that time. I mean, remember when people were paying over 1 ETH in gas just to mint something and things like that? It's like such a crazy concept for the average person to understand. And so I think as a result of that, Sonny, when you're talking about kind of like the community coming together on Solana, I think part of that was like they had this underdog mentality where we were like, yo, the tech on this is so great. Why is it not getting the limelight that some of these projects on ETH are getting when like this is so easy to operate in? And so I think that's what kind of like that underdog mentality is what kind of fostered that community. You know, did you see that, I guess, from like when you were building everything, what did you notice about like the different communities and things like that as they were developing?
I think that sentiment is perfectly like aligned with what I saw at the time. There was this message coming from ETH that, hey, you shouldn't care about the gas, like you just should be rich. And like it felt weird because even if you have money, like let's say you are from US and you have a decent life. I brought Jordan into the space and the first thing that he tried was ETH. So he has decent amount of money. And I told him like, hey, deposit like to MetaMask $100. And he moved it a couple of times and each time took $20. Like he did it like 3 times and he's like, where's my money? And I'm like, it's gone. It's like South Park episode.
You gotta pay that gas. You gotta pay that
Honestly,
gas.
as soon as it clicked for me that it's like, so you're telling me if I attempt to mint something, it's still going to take like $100, $200 in gas fees, and I could not even end up with an NFT, but I'm out $200. I was kind of just like, why would I not be minting on Solana? Like, it was a no-brainer to me, like right there and then.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an interesting to see how that's developed. What have you noticed in the time period? Like, because obviously that was 2021. We're now in 2024, which is crazy to say that like most of us have been in this for almost 3 years now. So what have you noticed, I guess, how the space has grown and matured? I mean, obviously right now more than ever, we're seeing kind of a lot more love towards Solana. We're also seeing a lot of the community start to mingle together. So people on Bitcoin and ETH and Solana are all kind of interacting with each other. What have you noticed about how the space has kind of changed over the last 3 years?
So one thing that's kind of surprising to me is like when you are on Twitter, everything feels that it's happening very quickly. So one observation that like I kind of like had like a couple of months ago is like it actually takes a lot of time to build something, and sometimes Twitter gives you this impression, like as a founder, that you're constantly behind someone else because they are doing a lot of things. And it might seem the growth on Solana right now is kind of just through the attention and the things that happened, but it's actually through the teams that stuck with it since the beginning. Like Jupiter is a perfect example of it. Like if you ask maybe like people from outside, it feels like overnight success.
Yeah.
But those guys like Sunny and Meow, they have been, like I knew them since 2021, and they have been grinding since then nonstop. Same with like all the other founders like Camino, Zeta, Drift, like all these people, they started in 2021 on Solana, and now they are like, a lot of them are doing the tokens, like Photo Finish and Crown. Like you guys have the stable. Like Ian has been at it from 2021 effectively, and a lot of people just don't realize how long it takes, and Twitter is like warping that perception. I think it's like you want everything to happen in like 1 week, 2 week intervals, and these people have been building these companies for years.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point because, you know, even looking back to like DeGods from Mint and that kind of like first 4 or 5 months when they were kind of just sitting like right above Mint price, but nothing, like the project just felt stagnant. Community was strong. They were rallying. They really, you know, enjoyed being a part of what this was. But there was still no like full sense of direction, right? And I think through rallying through that, and then seeing where they ended up when they were making the run up to DeGods, it's like during that time, you also had a bunch of these NFTs that were like quick 100Xs overnight. And through, you know, what you're saying with Twitter, it's like it makes it feel like these things should be much, much faster and that should be the norm. When really it's like some of these plays really are a longer term thing. Like if you're holding one of these NFTs and you see it through for 4, 5, 6, even 7, 8 months, and you can kind of have that little bit of a longer, I guess, vision from whenever you buy, right? Whether it's Mint or whether it's secondary, if you have that longer vision, then you're a little bit more invested. But not only that, like there is a much bigger play potentially with that, you know, overall, right? Like that might actually 200, 300X overlap whatever that small initial gains was at the time. And I think that's what we were kind of seeing during that time is like we had a bunch of random NFT projects that would just like moon overnight. But a lot of them now, if you look back or if you're looking at them now, they're not really around anymore, right? But some of these other projects that like it started off slow, they're still building, they're still here, and they're still putting the work to like be at that top status.
Yeah. The other thing I guess that like is an observation is like very few people in crypto make money through like frequent trading. You make money through holding and sticking through the tough times.
That part.
Like when like I haven't sold almost any of my Solana like since 2020. And I was buying more at 8 a year ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like going through those, like, and like I can tell you, when it went from 250 to 8, people were laughing in my face. Like, you're an idiot. Didn't feel great.
How's it feel now?
I'm still down.
All right, another shot of Mutai.
Yeah, pour him up. Take a shot to that. No, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's like it's one of those things that, like, you know, when I think about it, you know, a lot of times especially when in 2021, it was like a lot of the coins were at their peak in 2021. So a lot of people were buying and selling NFTs because that was the easier way to up your bag at the time, was to buy an NFT, hope that it mooned out of nowhere. That was also the time period where it didn't just automatically go onto a marketplace. You had to wait for it to go onto a marketplace. So you were like, man, what are these going to open up at? Like, this shit's going to be crazy.
You're checking rarity and like
everything.
Yeah,
You were checking some random ass website. You know, there was all kinds of shit. And then it was such a wild time. And then what we've seen is now more than ever in the last year or so, now people are asking themselves the question of, hey, when Solana's so low priced, does it make more sense to buy Solana, or does it make more sense to bag hold an NFT? And that's been one of the most interesting dilemmas. And we've seen with certain projects, it has paid off to hold on to those. There's been other times where it's made more sense to dump a project and hold on to the actual token, and that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, don't ask me. I'm a weird guy, and I never sell my NFTs. Like,
You're the greatest kind of holder, though.
You're a community member
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
yeah, for some of them, like for DeGods, I went through the hoops. I think like I moved them to ETH. I moved my youths, I think, to Polygon, but then I lost track what happened. So maybe they were like dead on
They're
Polygon.
chilling somewhere in the ether, yeah.
Might have to go find where they're at.
Yeah,
We might
yeah.
have to rescue them on
Yeah.
a boat or something.
I didn't do Bitcoin thing. I kind of regretted that.
Yeah.
I think minting them in the block was pretty cool. Yeah, so I don't sell NFTs. I treat them as art mostly, and I think like if you hold art, you hold it for years.
That's fair.
And I just buy what I like. I don't buy something because I think I will make money on it.
That's fair.
So I minted DeGods because I like the white paper,
Yeah.
but I never went to Discord. I don't talk with Frank. I don't ask him how are you going to make me money. I'm just like I kind of like the art and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a different perspective, I think.
Okay, so we got to ask you then,
One of
what's
the
your
best.
favorite DeGods art? Season 1, Season 2, Season 3?
I think dead ones are just like
That gods are the ones.
It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
honestly.
yeah.
And even when they came out, it was such a moment. It was such
Yeah.
a moment.
That was one of the most fun times I've ever had in NFTs, is watching everybody just watch their dead god transition into the dead god, and being able to see all those photos all over Twitter. It was just a fun time to be on the timeline. I think a lot of people, whether you were into DeGods or not, it was just a fun time. And there's been very few times where unanimously crypto Twitter and NFT Twitter is enjoying something all at the same time, whether you're a holder or not. For the most part, crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter, a little cutthroat. So that was one of the rare times where people were kind of unanimously enjoying something all at the same time.
Like, if I think about the art, I think ultimately what I liked about the dead ones is they had texture, right? So, kind of similar to what this like paintings that you have. Maybe you can show them later on the podcast. But it was about the texture for me. They feel like you were calling them dead, but they felt alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Where
a bar.
a lot of the NFT projects are just like mid-curving it. Like they have this like kind of like soft lines, not a lot of texture.
Yeah.
And my advice to me, you need to be on the either like very pixelated thing, or you need to have texture. If you are in the middle, you are dead.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
And going back to your frequent trading point too, I think, a lot of my best trades have been from those kind of like 4 to 6 month type of trades, holding an NFT, holding a token, obviously sometimes even longer than that, year, 2 years, and even holding on to other tokens, right? And I think that just doesn't get talked about a lot, is that everybody thinks that their gains need to happen within a week, within a day, within an hour. And when you're in this space, like, there's a much, much longer horizon for even being able to take profits, but how much you're participating in this space as well. Just kind of want to go back to that, because I think you made a really good point of just like, there's not a lot of people that frequently trade in this space that are actually making money. And, a lot of them too just kind of just say it on Twitter, but like, we don't see the receipts. You know what I'm saying? And the blockchain doesn't lie. So it's like,
Very easy to have a good picture on Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So
We hear about all the tokens you're making, but we never see them on the chain.
never. But
Not
all
on
right,
Cube.
Not
So yeah, we got to get more into Cube. So let's talk.
Wait,
about,
I do
yeah.
want to know, what was the first NFT that you minted, and do you regularly still try to mint new projects, or are you more of a secondary buyer? Like, what is your outlook on NFTs right now?
Like on Solana or like in general?
Just kind of overall.
Yeah. So I never minted NFTs on ETH.
Okay.
It was too expensive for me. Right. And the first NFT that I minted was the first NFT on Solana.
Okay.
So it's you can look it up. It's the picture of me and Jordan in front of Citadel.
Nice. Do you mint new projects? Do you buy on secondary? What's kind of your strategy on NFTs? And have you been minting for the past like 2 years into a lot of these major projects on Solana?
I mostly meant if I like the concept, right? So it was kind of similar like with DeGods. If you are doing something interesting, like with the tech, I will mint it. And then if I like the art, I will mint it. Sometimes I go on exchange.art and try to find something fun, like from one of ones. And then I buy it on secondaries if someone is like, if I like the community. For me, I think like the 10K collections are really about the community. And like when you are minting it, it's kind of hard to say if there's a community.
Yeah.
So I did like, for example, like Bikewex or Tensorians.
Yeah.
Because like the community is very strong.
100%.
And I do have one Mad Lab.
Okay.
Okay, so I got to ask you, so what is your, right now, the most slept on project that you think in Solana of any, you can either, something you hold, something you don't hold, most slept on project, and then also your favorite one-of-one artist, if you have somebody. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I know those are tough questions to answer, but if there's anybody you're super bullish on project-wise and one-of-one artist-wise.
Oh, that's like hard. This is hard. I mean, I'm kind of like, so my favorite artist outside of the crypto space is Keith Haring. You can kind of see some of it around the space on the skateboards. So that doesn't really mean much in crypto. And in terms of projects, I really like all the projects that we have been working on that listed on Cube.
There we go.
No, I'm serious. Like the way how I think about the listing process is I will not list something if I don't like it.
Fair.
So like photo finish with crown, like I know Ian has been grinding. The project I think is at the inflection point in terms of like the growth of the users. And like that's one of the reasons why we want to do something exciting. Or like we saw early on with meme coins like Maute or like Bonk had like interesting communities. And sometimes I don't sell my like meme coins at all. Like the airdrop from Bonk, it's still in my wallet.
Well, that's up big time. That's up big time.
We love to see it.
We should probably wrap up here, and we'll get
one last point. So you brought up meme coins. How do you see similarities and then maybe some differences between meme coins and NFTs and like specifically PFP projects in terms of like their communities and kind of how they rally around their projects?
Yeah, so the community building and how you start the project, I think can be very similar. I think with meme coins, they didn't find a way yet to convince people to be personally attached to the back. Like that's the main thing. Like when I buy a DeGod and often I personalize it. Like I put it as my like profile picture on Twitter and I feel it's me. So it's very hard for me to sell it. And people will like, hey, like you sold your like face to someone else? Like that's like what is that?
Yeah.
And I think that part, like meme coins don't have it. So convincing someone you are still part of the community by holding it is very tricky because it's very easy for me to sell like half of the back of my meme coin and say, hey, I'm still part of the community. I only sold half.
Yeah, but
I
now you're
cannot-
just like a very small bag.
I cannot sell half of my NFT
Yeah. True.
unless, you know,
Yeah, I was gonna say we might have to in part 2 talk about fractionalized NFTs for a little bit, but I know we need to wrap up here. I think the camera's cut after a certain period of time, but I think we'll run it back for part 2 shortly here, and we'll go
Marc,
from there.
you taking another shot?
No, not doing that.
I told you.
Not doing that.